My superpower is accountability. Didn't used to be. But guys, we have grown this business exponentially over the years. And this is what I've learned. When I'm held accountable, we accomplish great things. But somebody has to hold me accountable. Now, if it doesn't sound sexy, but being accountable will put you on the path to more money and more success than any sexy real estate technique or business strategy. I see you guys buying this product or this thing or that thing or this concept or that real estate thing. Here's what you need to know. There are a million ways to make money in real estate. And there are a million people selling you a million opportunities to make money in real estate. But they are all going to require one active ingredient. And if you've got a bookshelf filled with self-help, get rich quick, and you're not rich yet, another course is not going to change that, okay? If courses made you rich, the first one you bought would have worked, and it would have been all you needed. And that's me. I attend seminars just like you guys. I am crazy for buying new products. My staff will tell you that I'm the biggest shiny guy on planet Earth. If I see something new or exciting or cool, I immediately have to have it, and then it goes on the shelf to be forgotten. But for the things that are really important, these are the things that I'm going to go out and find somebody to hold me accountable. Now, the accountability moves that you need to make immediately are these. Please write these down. These are the accountability moves you need to make immediately. Number one, you need to be responsible. Obviously, that's pretty obvious. Secondly, you need to empower yourself. Number three, you can't give yourself any excuses. So as we look at what does it mean to be responsible, it's easy to claim responsibility for the good rather than the bad. But you've got to be 100% responsible for the outcome. Your success or failure is up to you. Even if you work within a team or are blindsided by unforeseen circumstances, your success is 100% your responsibility. I was having a conversation with some people earlier today because somebody went online and said, "Oh, Lee Arnold, that guy sucks. That guy's a scammer." Well, I was curious. So I went in and I looked at the person's name and I looked at their information. And like 20 years ago, they bought a book for me for $9.99 and nothing since. And I'm the scammer, okay? This is my biggest beef with people who write nasty things on the internet because they think that investing money with me or my organization or purchasing products or services from me is going to be this magic pill that will immediately make you successful. And that's not the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is if you want to be successful, it is 100% your responsibility. And your current financial situation, whether good or bad, is 100% your responsibility based on choices that you have previously made. The question is, will you make new choices to get different results? Now, you've heard it a million times. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. Now, some of you had a great 2020. Awesome. Congratulations. Kudos. I don't want this to be all negative. But what are we going to do in 2021? Who was it that sang the song, "What Have You Done For Me Lately"? Janet Jackson? Yeah. What have you done for me lately? Yeah. So great. 2020. Best year ever. Lovely. 2020's over. What are we going to do in 2021? Now, I had a meeting with my managers, my executive team this morning, and I said, you guys, here's how you have to think about this thing. We had a great 2020, and I equate it to we won the Super Bowl. Woo! And we spent the last 2 weeks of the year, going to Disneyland and what everybody else decided to do, which is great, but it's 2021. That year is over. This is a new season. We got a new team. And because we won in 2020, we've got a target on our back. And everybody's now coming after us because they want to beat the winning team. So how do you go from being a winning team to being a dynasty? Winning 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row. That's where we have to focus in and drill down. So for those of you who had a great 2020, good. Please do not dismiss yourself from this lecture. You need to hear it just as much as anybody else because it's a new year. 2021, new set of goals, new opportunities, new challenges. How are we going to succeed and thrive in 2021? You've got to be responsible. Whether this company is succeeding or failing, I accept 100% responsibility. Now, that doesn't mean hey, look at me, we had an amazing year. It must be because I'm an amazing CEO. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's because I accept responsibility when things aren't going the way they should, and I immediately go out and try to fix it. Find new talent, come up with new operating systems, new processes. Success is 100% your responsibility. I can only help you, aid you, hold you accountable for, but the work still has to be yours. Our COO was listening to Chuck Smith on the way into the office this morning, and he was sharing this story with our executive team. And he said Chuck Smith was talking about the faith of the disciples. As they're sitting out on the Sea of Galilee and they've been fishing all night long and they didn't catch anything. And Jesus comes walking along on the shore and he shouts out to them and he says, hey, put your nets on the other side. So they put their nets on the other side, and you guys know the story. Their nets were so full they couldn't even pull them into the boat, and the nets were tearing. And I said, Michael, that's a great story. I love that story. But the most important part of that story is to understand that the disciples were in the boat. They were in the middle of the sea. They were actively fishing. And that's the key. They weren't sitting on the side going, God, how come you haven't fed us yet? How come our business isn't booming? How come we haven't made any money? Where's the fish, God? They were actively out there doing the work. Okay. Now, I know many of you have been praying and saying, Lord, give me direction. Let 2021 be the year. Okay. It can be the year, but you still have to do the work. Our old pastor in Salt Lake City, he gave me an analogy that I've never forgotten and I continually use repeatedly to this day. And the analogy he gave was of those big ocean liners that sit in the ports of every country around the world. And these big, massive ocean liners, and they're steered by just this little tiny rudder that is 1/1000th the size of the ship. But that rudder can only be effective if the ship is moving. That ship is set in harbor, you can steer the wheel and nothing will happen. Maybe make some waves out the back, but nothing happens. We've got to be actively moving. Some of you had a less than stellar 2020 because you allowed outside constraints to keep you from moving forward. And you used excuses like, well, I can't go meet with clients, so I can't be successful in this business. Or I can't go look at houses because of COVID and they're not letting us look at homes. Guys, we bought more houses in 2020. We did more business in 2020. We did more loans in 2020 than we did in 2019 in the midst of COVID. So COVID can't be the reason 2020 wasn't stellar. COVID can be the reason we had to adjust and make a lot of changes, but it cannot be the reason for failure. Secondly, you got to empower yourself. When you accept 100% of the responsibility, you can manage your entire life and your career. You can't change the past. This is freeing because you're no longer shoulda, coulda, woulda-ing everything. You can just focus on the now. One of the things I love most about the new year is 2020 was a year ago, even though we both know it was 4 days ago. It was a year ago, okay? And whatever happened in the past is in the past. This is a brand new year. We got a clean slate, and this can be the year that we really make incredible things happen. Also understand that no is an empowering word. Track projects and deadlines that are income producing only. Resist over scheduling and estimate project times realistically. Now, another thing that I would attribute to a stellar 2020. I have been an entrepreneur for over 25 years. And in 2020, I did not start, acquire, or engage in a new business. Not a single one. Now, we put together new programs for our clients, our customers, you guys. We implemented new marketing strategies for our existing businesses, but I didn't start a single new company, which those of you in the studio here with me can attest to that's never happened.
No, Lee.
I'm an entrepreneur, right? So I have the shiny challenge that many of you have, which is, ooh, let's do that, or ooh, I want to do that. And we forsake the thing that had the most opportunity to go chase the new shiny thing that we've never even heard of. I was on the phone with a client the other day. I've been working with her for years in real estate. I just called to say, hey, how are you doing? How's your business? She says, oh, well, Lee, I'm not doing real estate anymore. I said, oh, really? Tell me what you're doing. She says, I'm selling things on Amazon now. And I thought, oh my goodness, here we go. She was getting good traction. She'd gone out, got a real estate license. She was moving. Things were starting to take shape. She had a couple of missteps, shut her down, completely forsook the business, and is now selling stuff on Amazon and not making any money at all. It's going to get hard, you guys. The road is going to get steeper. It's going to get tougher. It's going to get more challenging. You must persevere. You must keep moving forward. You can't just see some new opportunity, some new webinar that some guru is proclaiming is the get rich quick thing and leave what you're doing. Over the holiday, I met a cousin, and he and I have had conversations on and off for the last 10 years. In those 10 years, he's done about 1 million different things. And he was coming to me with this new proposal, and he wanted money for this new proposal. And I said to him, I like you and I love your family, but I'm not going to invest in anything that you're doing. He says, well, Lee, we're family. Why wouldn't you invest in what I'm doing? I said, because in the 20 years that I've known you, you've done like 4,000 things. I said, in the 20 years that you've known me, what do I do? Well, you're a real estate investor. Anything else? Nope. That's what I do. Okay? So being consistent, drilling down, being an inch wide and a mile deep, this is how you win. Not having 29 different things. I was at a mastermind group years ago, and again, a name that you all would recognize, gets up and does his presentation, and he says, you guys aren't going to believe what I've done this year. And he goes to the whiteboard and he draws all these things, and he says, last year we were doing this, and this year, we're doing all these things. And I said, hang on. I said, give me your revenue numbers on these 3 verticals last year. So he gives me his revenue numbers on these 3 verticals. And I said, okay, give me your revenue numbers on these new 8 verticals. He gave me the revenue numbers. And I said, are you aware that these 8 verticals have made you $800,000 less this year than these 3 verticals made you last year? And he looked at me and he said, you know, Lee, I never realized that until you brought that to my attention. I hadn't even done the math. He said, but you're right. He says, why do you suppose that is? I said, you're scattered. I said, you got too many things going on. You got too many irons in the fire. But see, we as humans, we take great stock in having a lot of things in the fire. We like to go to dinner parties and Christmas parties with family and brag about all the different things we're doing. But it doesn't matter how many things you're doing, guys. The only thing that matters in business, the only scorecard is how much money do you have in the bank? That's the only thing that matters. So you can tell me 1 million stories about 1 million things you're doing and 1 million successes you've had, but at the end of the day, I'm going to ask you, how much cash do you have? Because if you don't have cash, whatever you're doing is not being successful. So the solution is not finding something else to do. The solution is getting better at the things you've committed to do. That's how you grow. That's how you improve. That's how your business becomes more profitable. Last thing as it relates to empowering yourself is to sing your own praises. Take stock of your personal talents and your triumphs. Now on your paper here, I want you to write down this term, core competency. Core competency. This is a term that we use a lot, and I do a lot of consulting and coaching for clients. And one of the questions I will often ask is, what is your core competency? Is it sales? Is it marketing? Is it administration? Is it accounting? What is your core competency? Now, for those of you that have read the 5 Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman, your core competency also lines up often with your love language. So if we can identify what it is you're really good at and segment that talent to the business and hire all of the people around you who have strengths where you are weak, this is going to help your business improve dramatically. Now, you asked me, Lee, what are your core competencies? My core competencies are communication and sales. That's what I do. I communicate with you guys and I sell stuff. Now, to do that requires incredible product people, marketing people, getting hundreds and thousands of you to come and join these requires an army of people. And then the accounting side. Well, I'll tell you what, if I had to do everything required in this business, there would be no business. But Lee, how do we get there? Guys, one deal, that's all. Okay, if you have not flipped a single house, then we're going to focus on flipping a single house. If you have not brokered a single loan and that's the track you want to go after, we're going to focus on doing one brokered loan. And we're just going to do one. And then we're going to focus on the second one. And then we're going to focus on the third one. And as we generate more income, now we're going to start looking at and recruiting and bringing in talent to help us grow the organization. But it starts with the first deal. So if we have not done a deal yet, your goal for 2021 is going to be to finally do your first deal. Okay? All right, number 3, you cannot give yourself any excuses. You got to tell the truth. Everybody messes up, and trying to cover it up makes it worse. Just ask every politician out there. You also got to police yourself. NCAA coach John Wooden said the true test of a person's character is what they do when no one is watching. I was reading a book on the airplane by a guy named Ray Comfort. And he said, in the Christian community, 67% of men in the Christian community admitted to looking at pornography when no one was home. 67% of Christian men. Now, this goes back to person's character. Guys, pornography is not good for anybody. It's not what we need to be filling our head with, but that's not the point. The point is that really the best use of time, number 1? And 2, if I'm claiming to be a Christian that's walking with the Lord and following his precepts and what the Bible teaches, why would I be doing that? But yet 67% of Christian men confess to looking at pornography. Now, this brings us to another point as it relates to success in business, and that is congruency, right? I can't be representing to you that I'm one thing, and then behind the scenes when nobody's looking, I'm something else. There's not going to be congruency. And people are going to be able to see that, and they're going to be able to tell. Character's big. Number 3, it's me, not you. When challenges arise, ask these questions. What's the problem? What am I doing or not doing? What can I do to help solve the challenge? And how will I be accountable for the result? Okay, so I want you guys to write these 4 things down. What is the problem? What am I doing or not doing to help with the problem? What can I do to help solve the challenge? And how can I be accountable for the result? Well, you guys know, you that have been around with us for a while, we have, on the real estate side, we have the rule of 56, right? 25 letters, 25 phone calls, 4 offers, 2 networking events, which can now be done via Zoom and online. So COVID is not a reason not to be networking. We just network different. So what is the problem? Well, the problem is I'm not making any money. Well, what am I doing or not doing? Well, I'm not successfully fulfilling the rule of 56, which is every week producing these set results. Well, what could I do to help solve the challenge? Well, I could do the rule of 56 every single week. Well, how will I be accountable for the result? And this is where the rubber meets the road. Okay, to say I'm going to be successful in 2021, attempting to do the things I didn't do in 2020 without help from anybody, renders us on this chain or this loop of ongoing failure. Okay, there must be accountability. Somebody's got to hold you accountable.